We are all here, so it is 7:32 and I will call the meeting to order. Are you going to take minutes?
I can. Let me get set up on this end.
Cool.
If you just give me a minute just to pull up. I think I have your template that because you sent the minutes last.
Yeah.
You just use that, right?
I mean, I typically jot it on like in my
Oh, you do, and then you
during
plug
the meeting, just because it's easy to do shorthand, and then I transfer it into the notes after. But you can also do it directly, whatever is most comfortable. I find that for me, if I'm on a Zoom, it's hard for me to be looking at my screen at the same time. So I just usually use my tablet for any note things while on Zoom calls.
I think that makes sense. I think I'll probably do that moving forward, but for now, just to follow the topics and everything, I'll probably do this. Okay, so call to order 7:31.
I think it was 7:32.
Oh, 7:32. Okay, perfect.
And public participation. Julie, I guess you were a member of the public. Did you have anything that you wanted to share?
I do not. No.
Okay. Well, then if there's no other public participation, we can move on to the next thing, which is approving the minutes from the March 20th meeting, which were sent out to you. And I have a motion for approving those.
Yes. Wait, what do I say to start it?
I think you just say, I moved.
I moved to.
Moved.
Yes.
All right, Christina.
And I don't think I can vote because I'm.
I don't think you can vote anymore. No.
No, it's okay. But you guys have.
Christina?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm a yes, so minutes approved.
Minutes approved.
And then like in the minutes, all you have to write is minutes approved, like it doesn't.
Okay. And for public participation, do you write just say one member is present?
If they don't have anything to say, I just say none.
Okay.
Because Julie wasn't participating. Julie is just, lurking as far as the minutes are concerned.
Okay, perfect.
But like the past, was it last meeting that
yeah, Chris was on.
Chris joined? Yeah, so if someone from the public joins and has stuff they want to say, then we need to capture their name and address as part of, and then just, sort of high level what they shared or requested.
Okay.
It's infrequent, I would say.
Yeah, right. I think
but I delight when it happens.
Okay, yeah, I've only been there that one time with him.
So the meat of what we wanted to talk about today, I'm just noticing that in the agenda, there are two things called item 3. Shame on me. Unclear agenda numbering. Anyway, the thing we wanted to discuss was the program proposal and any new information from our conversation. So I think since our last meeting, you spoke with or got some feedback from the health department.
Yes.
I got some feedback from Erin in the town development office, and we got some feedback via email from the Recycling Works MA people, which is a statewide resource for waste reduction. So we can talk through all of those and see, what adjustments we want to make to the proposal, to the sort of program. And anything like that.
That sounds good. The only edit I had made after talking with the health department was just to reword that one item on the rodenticide / pesticide use. I think I switched it. I have it here. I worded it as choose non-toxic pest control methods when possible. I
think that sounds
okay. I think we were toying around with the wording.
I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So that was, I guess, the only feedback that they had in terms of what we were kind of asking businesses to do.
And so they had no problem with reusable coffee mugs, to-go containers, like all of that was fine.
Yeah, and I sent him the whole thing. I actually sent him with I just put a draft thing across it. So I just did that, and I sent it to him. I said, if you and whoever can just get your eyes on this, and just anything that stands out, just let me know. So I'm making the assumption he read over
Yeah.
all the items, and that was the one that he picked out, but he did say anything else that he could help with. He was happy that we were doing this and he supports this. So that was really nice too.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's
to hear.
awesome.
Yeah.
Certainly that's an area of concern, right? No business wants to do something that we
Right.
suggest that then turns out to be a
Right.
problem with the health department. So that's
Right.
super important.
Right. So he was, yeah.
Okay.
That
Awesome. Great. Well, I'm glad we were able to get some feedback there. And then I had a meeting with Erin Kokinda in the town office. She was generally quite enthusiastic as well.
Great.
She mentioned she didn't have any particular suggestions of changes, or maybe if she did, we made them in the page, like in the moment. I think there might have been a couple of like clarifying words here and there, or like examples of things. Something she mentioned is there's a the economic development. I wrote
Committee,
council, economic
committee, it's a committee. Yeah,
has a grant to do digital marketing work. So she was suggesting that like through that, part of what that is about is reducing paper marketing, right? Like how can you do more digital marketing and not send, flyers and pamphlets and, like paper mail advertisements. So she said that was in line with our, reduce your paper marketing waste.
Yeah. What was that grant called again, or what was that?
I wrote down digital marketing grant.
Oh, digital marketing grant. Okay. Yep.
So I don't know if that's open to everyone, or if that's something that, we can suggest to businesses like, hey, you can take advantage of this support through the EDC.
I think it's open to anybody. I mean, they might have to apply for it.
Mm-hmm.
The other good thing about that is, I think it's also meant to kind of help people sell online, not just bricks and mortar, which is less transport. I mean,
Yep.
Just another thing to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. And then she mentioned the PACE program, which is for making energy improvements for commercial businesses to make energy improvements. So I don't know where that program is through, and I think I made a note in the program document itself in the energy thing about, participate in PACE programs. We added that as one more in the energy efficiency one. And I think that's something that they can access through Erin and take advantage of the support from that program. So that's helpful. I feel like any resources we can point businesses toward.
Absolutely.
Right. She mentioned that there is there's some ARPA money going to the EDC for supporting businesses. I connected back with her and said that we're not at a spot right now to like be able to make a compelling case for a particular thing that we would suggest. But I hope that at some point in the future we can, if we come to some idea that requires more than a tiny bit of, like if we're trying to get like window stickers, I think that probably can be under the ESC budget. But if there's stuff, above and beyond that there might be opportunities to request funding through some of these other programs. Another thing she mentioned was to think about how we might incorporate nonprofits into this as well, which I hadn't thought about prior to that conversation. I don't know. I mean, I would absolutely love to have nonprofits also be, following some of these practices. I don't know if that maybe is something we hold off on until after the pilot, like unless some nonprofit comes to us and says, hey, I'd love to be in the pilot, but like maybe we pilot with a small number of for-profit businesses and then see as we roll it out to a larger cohort, whether there are changes we need to make to incorporate nonprofits.
I think that makes sense.
And then one other note I took was how we might show businesses cost savings from any of these measures. Not all of them will have cost savings, but certainly some of them should.
Right.
I don't know if there are resources somewhere or if that's just something that over time will accumulate. Like, oh, great news. When you stopped buying individual ketchup packets and bought a big bulk ketchup, you actually save X dollars per hot dog.
Yeah.
So something to keep an eye on. I'm not sure if that's something that we can.
I feel like that might, it might be out there in some way, like instead of recreating the wheel, like there might be something that I can peruse the internet and see if there's some things out there that are more generic that we can maybe share.
And it probably is item specific, right? Like of
Yeah.
the 30 things on our list, there's some where we might be able to point to
exactly, like something.
case study or a stat.
Yeah, some sort of data, that kind of thing. Because I agree. I think it is very, encouraging to see the difference.
And there'll be some of these that cost more, right?
Yeah.
Like buying the compostable tableware is going to cost more probably.
Yep.
So if we can show that, like, do some of the cost ones, some of the savings ones, and it all works out. So that's all I got from Erin. Julie, did you have any other? Can you hear my cat?
No. No, I think you covered them all. I thought she was very attentive and encouraging.
Yeah, she seemed real enthusiastic about the idea. And I think she appreciated the notion of, like, we're going to pilot with a small number of businesses and see what we learn. So cool. And so then the other set of feedback we got is from the Recycling Works MA folks. And I forwarded that along to you. It included a PDF with like 37 links to other resources, which may actually include, to your point, something about, where there might be cost savings.
Yep.
I looked through some of the resources. I did not look through all of the resources. They had a few real specific suggestions, so maybe we can just look at these together now. One thing so high level, they said most effective to prioritize source reduction, then focus on purchasing initiatives. So consider switching phase A and phase B.
Okay, let's look at that.
And I think we had put the purchasing in front because it felt like
a small win, right?
Yeah, like something you could do right away.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, the next order we place, we'll just do that. All right, so I'm just pulling it up. So they had suggested we switch the waste reduction. So phase B and phase A. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
we don't have to, though. This is just their suggestions. So if we feel compelled to keep it as it is, I'm fine with that too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with either one. I could see the benefits of both. Like, I think it's probably more effective to reduce waste, but at the same time, it's using that little mental snowball method of purchasing things just maybe a little bit more green can help maybe create some of these bigger changes.
Well, and there may be some of these that, in reality, it makes sense to do together. Like, don't go buying compostable cups if you're not also going to set up composting in your space. So there may be some of these that get bundled together just by the nature of doing them. So I don't think we need to be and some of these they might be doing already from the, later phases. So we don't need to be like real sticklers about the order. Okay. Oh, I noticed, I realized that in the meeting with Erin, we said others as applicable and added that to each of the phases because we were discussing how, like, they might have another thing that they're already doing that we didn't know.
Yeah. That's a good point. I saw that.
Yeah, keep that open.
Okay.
And I think this was new in the meeting with Erin, was be thoughtful about swag related waste.
Yes.
Like if you're going to a fair, you're going to a thing, don't give out, a whole lot of plastic doodads that people are just going to throw out. Be thoughtful of, or to clients or employees, like what you're putting your logo on.
Yep. I love that one, actually.
Okay, so other stuff from the Recycling Works people. Under purchasing, include sub-bullet for customer education, educating them about what to do with the packaging at home, recycling versus composting, to prevent contamination. Yeah, that makes sense. Right.
Okay.
Like if you start giving out compostable cups, tell people that these are compostable cups and they should compost them and not put them in the recycling.
Right.
So.
And what if they don't have, what if the people don't have access to composting?
Well, then they should go in the trash.
Okay.
Right. Like compostable cups shouldn't go in the recycling.
Right. They should go in the trash. Okay.
So.
I mean, I do find that people get confused about this a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
Yeah.
the only reason to buy compostable cups is if they have a place to compost them, right?
That's the impression I was under. Otherwise, doesn't it contribute?
I mean, like, I know, like, my mom keeps buying compostable, like, trash bags. And I'm like, that's great, right? But really, the compostable needs to go into a compostable place,
Yes.
is my understanding.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's confusing.
if a smoothie place wants to give out compostable cups, you're taking that smoothie to go. So,
Right.
they want to they want to encourage you to compost this cup if you compost or have access to somewhere to compost. And if you don't put it in the recycling because it's not actually recyclable. Right.
Right.
I mean, it may be like ultimately we try to encourage there to be a couple of centralized compost bins in town somewhere.
Right.
So you can say when you're finished with your smoothie, bring it back here for our compost, or there's the central bin down the road at thus and such.
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe we should put something in the green purchasing about and provide educational signage about how to dispose. Next, under reduction, they said include suggestions to supply single-use items only on demand or by request. Do not automatically give plastic utensils or straws, for example.
Isn't that a law?
That's already our bylaw.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we should give people points for it, but we should maybe we should remind them.
Yeah.
Although I guess that applies to cutlery, straws.
Condiments?
No,
Don't think
stirs.
Stir. Okay.
Don't think it applies to condiments. So I think, that might be one where, only give out ketchup packets on demand.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the 10 soy sauce packets I got the other night. So
I know. I just tossed some ketchup packets.
Yeah, I don't need all these, but okay.
Yeah, I have ketchup at home. Most of the time, the fries are just coming home.
Right.
On the go. Yeah. So maybe that goes in there somewhere. Oh boy, I'm ruining all the formatting. Only give out individual condiments or other such items on request. I've ruined all the formatting. I'm so sorry.
All good. I've ordered from places before where they have it as an option when you order online.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great way of sort of getting these points as well, is offering that part.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that for cutlery. I don't think I've seen that for like ketchup packets.
Yeah, I think I saw it for, maybe it was for sushi. It was like chopsticks. Like, do you want chopsticks? Because I guess there are a lot of people who don't use chopsticks. So it was like, don't put the chopsticks in. Do you want soy sauce or not? Like, they were definitely trying to
that's awesome.
Reduce, which was really great.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the education piece.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And there may be that through whichever online ordering tools. That's like just a thing on the back end that they can add. And it's, we don't know which checkbox you add, you have to do in the admin back end of their system, but we'll figure that out on the first one, and then we'll share with everyone else. That's
right.
So. They also suggest repurposing surplus food into new meals for restaurants. That's on the reduction side. So like if you have, use extra food to make other food.
Okay.
Oh, what about the there's that app, what's it called? Too Good To Go. Have you seen that one?
No.
I think there's only one Wakefield business participating, at least last time I checked.
What is it?
It's an app where restaurants can offer that at the end of their day or a certain time of day, they offer like grab bags of their extras. I think Carol's Cafe does it. So like you don't get to say what you want, but it's super discounts. Like for $4, you get a goodie bag of.
Oh, I have people in my house who would like that.
A couple meals worth of stuff, a couple, it's like some pancakes and some hash browns or whatever, but you have to pick it up. You sign up for it in advance and you have to pick it up in a certain window that is like during their closing time. But for super cheap, you get to take home the pancakes that got made but not eaten. And the places participating, so I think Carol's is the only one in Wakefield last I saw that was doing it, but there are some like bakeries, even some like little markets and convenience stores, so it's like stuff that they're going to get rid of. And they offer it up. So like they get a tiny bit of revenue for it and people take it and eat it. So I feel like that would be, maybe that's in the same vein. We already have one item in there for donate leftover food. So maybe it would be like donate leftover food or participate in a.
What's it called? You said it before. Food. What was it called?
Too Good To Go. I don't know if we want to specify that app, but like participate in a discounted leftovers kind of program.
Yeah. A leftover food app or something. I don't know if you want to be more generic.
Yeah. Right. And so then the other, I guess the recycling work folks' suggestion was rather than donating that food as food would be use that food to make other things, like make tomorrow's.
Right. Like a soup with the leftover vegetables or something.
Yes. Yeah. It's probably a better way to phrase that, but I wrote repurpose today's leftover food into tomorrow's meals. There's an unstated where safe and appropriate, like don't use stuff that's bad, but
right. You would hope they're doing this anyway, but I guess having it spelled out is,
yeah. Well, or like maybe saying it helps them think a little bit harder
about it.
Like, oh, we do that for this particular soup, but I guess we could do that for a few other items as well.
Agreed. Yep.
And then this included a link for a compostable food serviceware buying guide. Oh, good, which is something that we had been asking for. So this is like a guide to how do you choose the things that are actually certified compostable and where do you get them? So like actual product links.
Oh, okay.
So cups and plates and bowls and things.
So they provided those links in that email? Is that right?
Yeah, in that email, there's a link to this buying guide, which is like 18 pages of items. So here, I'll toss that in the. Toss that in the chat. Oh no, I can't toss it in the chat. I forgot we can't do chat. Well, I feel like so it may be in addition to this proposal with these like list of items, do we start accumulating a set of resources that we can provide? And this would be-
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the next step, right?
And that's a resource guide that anybody can use, not just people who are in the pilot.
True. Yes. Right. So do we want to then just sort of start throwing them on our webpage? Like make a resources for businesses web
Yeah, why not?
page within our
Yes.
website. We can throw the resources on there, and then folks within the pilot, we can, hold hands with them more, but still point them to like, well, here's where you would go to look for these, this list of things.
Yeah, I think it's also great that other people can refer, if Erin says, oh, it's on the website, you can go here, like, it could be a good landing page too.
Yeah. So maybe let's start collecting a list of resources.
Yep.
And just like an annotation, compostable serviceware buying guide, whatever. I'll gather up a list of a handful. Jen McDonald and the communications person in town hall is super great about making updates to emails, because up to the web pages, because our web page for all of the town, the tips and programs, where to recycle these things, all of that. There's probably some stuff in there actually that we would just put also on this business guide. But so she makes updates to that all the time as I find new, great news, you can recycle this thing over there.
Right.
So we can like gather up an initial set and send it to her to make us a fresh page.
Yeah.
And then as we find, I'm sure we'll find more as we're going, and it'll be easy enough to ask her occasionally to add some content on there.
Yeah. I think that would be great.
Cool.
Is it easiest to do like a PDF that she would just upload and then we can edit it on our end, and then it's just, or do you feel like it's something she's gonna like copy paste into the webpage as like a web builder?
For the one that I worked on to get here, let me share my screen. It sometimes takes a while to find the screen. So like she controls this whole web page, and then so we made this page a year or two ago with these programs and helpful tips. And actually we did call out specifically a couple that were, for business owners, for instance.
Awesome.
So she just maintains this page.
I got it. Okay. And so we would.
And so I'll just send her an email and say, ooh, please add a 7th bullet under recycling and waste reduction that says, mattresses can go to this place. And it's easy enough for her to like, and there can certainly be more formatting than this. I want it to just be a simple page, but we can put, whatever sort of structure and content to it. So I think that's probably easier than a PDF, because sometimes with the PDFs, I think of like we've got some that are in, for instance, like the news and announcements. And when you click on those, they sometimes just look a little.
Yeah, like that. That's what it's.
So.
Yeah, no, that visual helps. So it'd be kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we should go through and see, because there are a few. So I know there was this one for commercial solar. And then the energy efficiency, there's like a specific energy efficiency for business owners. And I think that was one of our listed items, was like do an energy audit.
Yep.
Yeah. So these ones down here were for the commercial folks.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say let's just start gathering up a list.
Yeah.
Or a page, and then we can send it over to her.
Great.
Is there anything else from the Recycling Works folks? They also pointed us to the Berkshire's Waste Less Restaurants program has like badges and logos and icons and stuff. So that she sent us a whole bunch of Canva files, it looks like, or Canva links to like the designs of their stuff.
Okay, cool.
So we could, borrow from that if we want to. It's open and to adapt and use freely. I don't know that it's necessarily any better than, you had done some logos and things back in the beginning of this. So I think we could just continue on that path.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And then there was an attachment to the email from them with a whole bunch of other links. Many are like recycling guides for various different things, paper recycling guide, cardboard recycling guide, fluorescent lamp recycling guide, et cetera, et cetera. But also stuff about, reusables and food donation, like there's a whole thing about food donation tax incentives and food donation guidelines so that, you don't, there's like stuff about legal liability stuff.
Right.
So there's a whole bunch, we may want to just gather a bunch of the items from there also to put on this page. Or maybe just link to it, or I don't know. We can figure out sort of whether it's.
The good thing is that it's there. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's there if we,
Right.
need it at some point.
Yeah. So yes, that was the Cycling Works folks. Yeah, but they were enthusiastic and excited about it, and happy to be helpful if we have deeper questions on anything after those resources. So
Okay.
yeah,
Sounds good. So what's the next step in
yeah,
how to go about this?
Have we gotten, so back a couple of these ago, we had listed out a variety of folks that we felt like we should talk to before sort of officially launching. Let me see. Looking at past minutes.
Are you talking about like health department, Erin?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I found it.
Council?
Okay. So it was clean up the page, which you did to make the pillars.
Yep.
Discuss with Erin. Done.
Done.
Discuss with Anne. We did that.
Yep.
Discuss with health department.
Did that.
So then our next two were review with the economic development. This says council, maybe it's committee, for feedback, and review with the Chamber of Commerce for feedback, and then have some maybe open feedback sessions. So maybe those are the next couple of steps, is get some like set up feedback sessions with the EDC and with chamber folks.
Okay.
And then right, and I guess the notion, so I mean, I guess thinking about generally collecting feedback, right? There's we want to do this as a pilot so that we can experiment and learn and see it in action. So in some ways I would love to just start, right?
That's where my mind is at.
But thinking about, for instance, recent town meetings and the feelings of like, town committees are doing things and not getting feedback from people. Do we set ourselves up for skepticism and concern if we launch this without having had a more open, I mean, this is an open meeting, so anyone would be welcome to join, but like a more publicized, like open forum for collecting feedback.
I see obviously the benefits to both. Do we want to reach out to like the EDC just to see the response and just?
I think if you go to the EDC in the chamber, and if they really push you to get more feedback, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're kind of the two boards right now that represent businesses.
Right, versus just having an open.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of businesses don't even live in town, so like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not that their input doesn't matter. That's not it at all. The other thing is that Erin has an email list of all the businesses, and she may be able to, maybe instead of, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's we have a Q&A session or something.
Yeah.
Rather than like an open feedback.
Right.
Well, I guess, do we have particular questions that we want to ask of folks in general? Or is this more like we would like to get, do we use that email list, for instance, as the way to find folks who want to participate in the pilot?
Right. I mean, I think that's going to be the best way to get the pilot rolled out.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
think,
maybe, I mean, maybe people might just sign up for a pilot. Maybe there's an information night, right?
mhm,
Where people come and kind of hear about it,
Yeah.
or a day or a lunch or something, right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Before they decide whether they want to sign up.
Yeah.
Right.
And we did send something to the chamber to John
Mm-hmm.
at the chamber, like way back before this reconfiguration of the plan for feedback. And I don't feel like we got a lot, but that was also on the prior version of the plan. So it might make sense to just sort of share that and say, we would love more feedback if folks are interested. However, we're also looking to just start a pilot and get, learn through that as well.
Yeah, because every single business is going to have, I mean, is going to have their own needs, and we're going to learn so much, I think, from each and every one.
Right.
I think that's a lot of feedback to begin with, too.
Right. Right. That's the whole reason you do a
That's
pilot.
right. So, I think we're just going to be learning a lot. I'm with you. It's like I'm tempted to just jump in, just to get it started. I mean, like, get the feedback, but like also be in the works of really thinking about.
Well, I think we just need to be like, and when we frame this, we just need to make sure we're framing it as this is a pilot. The program will adjust.
Right,
We'll
exactly.
be learning, we'll be
Keeping it
collecting
open,
feedback, like make
right,
sure that it's clear that we're not like locking anyone into anything or,
No, because I think we're learning,
absolutely.
how to help people help themselves and help our town. So, do we want to like solidify in terms of like when we do meet with these businesses or we do reach out, is what we have enough, or do we want more specific information in terms of like a timeline, or like how much per phase, like phase A would be about 3 months ish, like, is that
Right. I feel like we need a little bit of more,
just like more details to wrap their head around? Like, is this a 5-year thing? Is this like, what am I signing up for exactly?
yeah. I mean, I think we had suggested like 3 months per phase.
Yeah, I think that's what we had talked
Which
about.
feels like enough time to try some things, figure out what the right approach is to recycling those items, or, whatever, which of these apply to your business or not.
Yep.
They will be assigned a coach.
Okay.
Presumably would be one of us.
Yep.
Ultimately, we'll find some others, but like they will have maybe not assigned a coach. They will have, Green Business Committee members available to answer questions, support them, find resources, etc.
Right. I think we may end up doing it together just because I think maybe we'll be learning.
Right.
I don't know if it's just the two of us, but I'm gonna call it a green business coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should probably specify there is no cost, no
cost.
They don't need to pay us to participate.
Yep.
They need to pay for the items they buy.
Yep.
Right. We're not buying them compostable cups.
No.
There's no.
Correct. Yeah.
No cost to participate.
Mm-hmm.
That items within, like, each of these lists are options. They're options within these categories. Not all of them will apply. Like, I feel like we need to make real clear that we know that like ketchup packets don't apply to law firms.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. And so that in each phase, the coach will work with the business to figure out which are the most applicable and impactful items from that phase list to tackle. And something like completion of the program is, noticeable progress within each phase. Right? Like, they don't need to get to perfect. They need to be making some changes. And then the stuff on the extras list, right? Like we had said, those ones are not part of the program, but are, you know, some especially great and impactful things. And if they do any of those, they're, you know, extra credit, we'll celebrate them a lot.
They might get a shout out on social media or something.
Right. Well, and I think maybe that's also part of the packaging we need to explain, is like what they get from it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest draw, I think, for a lot of businesses, is the exposure, their brand.
So I believe it would be, you know, we will publicize a list of the green business participants on the ESC webpage. We will give them some sort of window decal. And social media equivalent of that. That they can post. We will post about their successes, maybe even like once per phase. That we'll share from the ESC account something celebrating the progress that they're making.
I think what else?
Yeah. They'll be our favorites.
Yeah, right. I mean, I know this is like further thinking, but you know how some towns, it's like they try to diversify and choose like women-owned businesses or like minority-owned businesses. I'm like, I wonder if like one day it would be something like, oh, like, you know, we chose a green business in Wakefield to be at some event or cater an event or something where it's like, you know.
Yeah, and I think that'll again partly depend on which types of businesses.
Right, like I was thinking of like a restaurant catering, but yeah, you're right. If there's other,
but I mean, I think that is part of, you know, we'll put that list of green businesses on our webpage, which only goes so far as people looking at that webpage to decide what businesses to purchase things from.
Yeah, that's
and you know, and so this is part of the feedback that we'll want to get, is like, what else can we do that helps? Well, I mean, the other thing they get is coaching and support in how to do all these things.
That's true. Yeah.
Free support in making these changes. Yeah, there might be other things along the way, like maybe if they want to do some social stuff about it, you know, if they want help, like, hey, can you review this? We want to post about how great it is that we're composting now. Can you review, make sure that we're, you know, saying the right things? We can certainly be open to other prizes as applicable.
And I think sorry, go ahead.
We may find that there are some things where by doing this as a group, we can help them unlock other resources.
Right.
Whether it's participating in other programs, you know, pointing them to things like that digital marketing grant, or just, you know, I could see us at some point, you know, bulk purchasing compostable cups. You know, if we can get a better price for compostable cups, if we buy them for all of the whatever kind of shops, do we find some, you know, bulk purchasing arrangement that helps them get better pricing? I wouldn't want to promise that yet. That's, I think, you know, us. we don't know what that could look like, but it certainly is something that we could.
These are all good thoughts. And then in terms of like meeting with them, so let's say like pilot, you know, we're seeking out these businesses, we get a handful of them that say, okay, yep, we want to participate. Do we want to mention just sort of in our marketing of it that it's like virtual, or like how often is the time commitment? Is it once a week? Is it like once a month? Like what's kind of happening?
Question. I don't know. Might depend on who the businesses are and what works for them. Like,
yeah. Okay.
And it might be really nice to, you know, maybe once a month get the whole pilot group together.
I was just thinking that, like one-to-one calls and group.
Yeah, like a group thing every once in a while for them to share ideas with one another and talk about what's hard, and for us to tell them how awesome they all are.
Love that.
But then one-on-one, that could be in person, that could be virtual, it could be phone calls, whatever's
Yep.
easy for them. Email, like we can support them in whatever
Okay.
way works
Okay.
for them and for us.
Phone, in person, and group meetings. Okay.
As needed. It may be that
Yeah.
we do one at the beginning of the phase and they say, oh, cool, clearly we need to recycle these 7 things.
Yep.
And then they check in over email and say, great, we figured it out for these ones, but where do we bring our light bulbs? And we say, oh, Staples and Reading. And they say, great, thanks. And the, phase complete, right? Like,
Right.
we don't need to overburden them with touch points if they don't, need extra support.
Right. Nope, that makes sense. All right, perfect.
And maybe we do also say something about and this is a pilot, so we'll be, looking for your feedback and how to make this program successful.
Yeah.
And that we're looking for a diversity of business types, right? If the pilot only has restaurants,
Right.
yes, they might learn more from one another, but we will not learn nearly as much about, what works for anybody else. So I think ideally we want.
Yeah, that's true. And then I see it the other way too, which is if you get a handful of restaurants, you can just help all of them together at once,
Yeah. And maybe after, I guess in my thought would be, it would be ideal to have a pilot that has a diverse set of restaurant types. And then maybe the second phase, we're like, great, we've learned a bunch.
Yep.
This next cohort, we're opening only to restaurants.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
trying to get
Got it.
17 restaurants in town to participate. This next cohort is going to be the, law firms, accountants, and other folks that use a lot of paper cohort. Get them, as many of them, and then is there more sort of social,
Yep.
peer pressure kind of stuff. Well, if these 7 law firms are all doing it, I guess I'd better do it too.
I mean, this could make a really big impact, in terms of just sheer volume. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out where the gaps are. Right.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right.
What else? So next steps on program launch. So I guess, just tactically. So do we want to talk to the EDC?
Yeah. Is that just like an email or is that?
I think they're meeting tonight.
I was going to say, I think they're meeting tonight. So when next do they meet every month?
Maureen and Ed are the counselors on that. So we can reach out to one of them.
Okay. All right. So reach out to the EDC. Do we want to reach out to Chamber of Commerce? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it might be nice just to let John know, hey, we've revamped the program, but maybe, write up the surrounding stuff first.
Yeah. I can try to put that together before our next meeting.
Okay. Yes, if we have that all together, I think then we can send that to John and say, hey, we've revamped a bunch of the sort of framing of this. Would love another round of feedback from you and there's a board, right? A chamber board or something, or there's a chamber something small group, not all the chamber members, but so yeah, I think getting, just that one, I think could just be an, email, hey, would love any other feedback on this, or we could have, sit down with you if you'd like, but wanted to get your input before we go grab a bunch of pilot folks to start.
Good.
Yeah. Cool.
And then are we doing anything for businesses like that open feedback session, or just kind of scratch that and then maybe just see that or not as pilot?
I think if we do EDC and chamber,
okay, I think that works.
Let's call that good, and then say that through the, and maybe there's maybe an info session where we explain the program, to try to recruit some pilot participants.
Yeah.
And in that, we may learn other things or get some feedback, but mainly we'll use the pilot as the source of feedback.
Okay, perfect. Now that sounds good. Those 3 steps.
Cool. And I think as soon as I think we could be doing some of these somewhat in parallel, like we can start talking up participating in the pilot.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, I guess maybe we don't want to send out the sort of full picture of the program before getting sort of the last bits of feedback in case they have any. No, I don't know. Maybe we can start sharing it around.
I think so.
You can start teasing it a little bit.
Yeah.
I do have off the side of my desk, I've got a list of the businesses that I would think, that have shown some inkling of sustainable
Oh, that's
something.
great. That's
So,
great.
we can certainly reach out to them individually as well as to sort of doing a, broader blast.
Great.
We can certainly use our, as far as publicizing for the pilot, we can use the social media. We could put a thing in the kiosks in town, but probably having the chamber send out an email and having Erin send out an email will be the most, they have the broadest reach and people probably read their emails from Erin. So we'll probably want to just draft up a call for pilots and please come to this info session.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Email us if you want to just sign up or, tactical thing.
Do we want to do registrations?
Well, I was gonna say, do we want an email, a central email for this?
Oh, yeah.
The ESC has an email list, ESC at Wakefield MAUS. Do we want these just to be things coming to our emails and CCing each other and all of that? Or do we want to
No,
have
maybe something else. Is it something we can create a Gmail for, or is that something that you needed a town?
I would guess that this would need to be an official town.
Yeah, an official
email. And I don't know if as part of the ESC, can we just request an extra town email, ESC?
Yeah, I would just talk to Jen. She'll know.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you like me to, I feel like, Christina, you've just jotted down a whole lot of things that are on your plate. Would you like me to ask Jen?
Yeah, you can ask Jen. That'd be great. Otherwise, I'll do Green Business Wakefield at Gmail.
But I think it would need to have the
That's what I was thinking, the official,
town,
legitimize it.
Well, because there's it saves things for public record.
Gotcha.
There's all sorts of backups and things. Same way for the social media.
Okay.
So I don't know. It may be that we just cannot, and then we'll deal. But if we can get a separate one so that the businesses, so that it just doesn't all end up in the ESC email accounts.
Yeah, that would be great.
That might be good. Do we want to set a tentative date for an info session?
Sure. What are you thinking?
Well, let's see. We're in mid-May right now. How did that happen?
I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah.
We're in the countdown of how many, we're on letter U of the countdown backwards from Z to A.
First
the last days of.
Oh, yeah.
Garden.
23 left or something like that.
Something like that. So, I mean, if we want to have met with the EDC before, and they wouldn't probably meet until a month from now, I guess we'd be looking towards the end of June. So we have the recycling event the last weekend of June, and our bee presentation is coming to the library on June 26th.
Okay.
So the last week of June is
pretty fast.
Well overloaded with ESC things at this point.
Okay. And then we have July 4th.
Yeah. So do we want, and I'm away for a bit in July. Shall we pick a mid-July date and figure at that point we'll have gotten all the feedback we want?
Yeah, that should be okay to start. Yeah. I'm away the week of the 22nd.
Great. So then the week of the 15th it is.
Okay.
Daytime because it's businesses or evening because it's businesses?
It would depend on business.
One of each?
Yeah, maybe a morning and an afternoon and a nighttime,
Yeah.
an evening. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Like Tuesday the 16th at lunch. And maybe we can do it like somewhere central, like lunch at Brothers or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's plenty of sitting space.
I do work on Tuesdays.
Pick a different day. I'm free all the days at lunch that week, so
I think Wednesday would work.
great.
I could do Wednesday during the day. Yep. So Wednesday, July 17th.
The 17th?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put it as a hold on my calendar for now. And then an evening.
It's like an evening virtual session. Can we do that just in case nobody comes?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Do we want to do it like Thursday so that we will have had the daytime one first?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Okay, so Wednesday would be the in-person and then Thursday evening,
Yeah.
virtually, July 18th. I mean, I like the idea of Brothers. I don't know how much participation we'll get, but if there are downtown businesses, they can just pop over if they need.
Cool. Okay. And then that might sort of get us some folks who are interested, and maybe we kick off in August. Phase 1 would maybe start in August and go August, September, October.
Yep. August.
Right. They don't need to be quarter like.
No.
And we can also have, depending on where everybody is at, we can always have a little space in between phase 1. If we're like, okay, we're going to take a couple weeks, phase 2, we're going to start after the holiday or something like that, right?
Yes,
Like, it
sure.
doesn't have to be
right. So pilot, we don't have to be super rigid.
No, exactly. So we'll kind of figure that out. Okay.
Do our meetings all need to be open meetings? I imagine maybe so.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if both of you are there, yes. If it's just a public event.
Right. What's the difference between a meeting and an event? If we're hosting an event, which is the
and hopefully you're going to get another member too. I would ask Sherry. My bet is they might want to post it, but I don't think you have to take like detailed minutes or even have it on Zoom, but I don't know.
Right. Okay. I will frame up to Sherry what it is that we're looking to do in the sorts of interaction, so like we're going to have 2 info sessions.
I mean, I think about it like this. And when you talk to Sherry, like when the HRC is doing their movie night, are they posting that or their dance things, or veterans are having a veterans breakfast? Are they posting those?
Well, and so I guess there's maybe a difference between like the 2 info sessions. We may want to post those just for the sake of them being on the public calendar. But like once the pilot is selected, if we're having a once a month get the pilot members together.
Yeah, I don't know whether those have to be.
Those don't feel like a meeting. That's not a meeting of the subcommittee. That's a meeting of this pilot.
Right.
I'll follow up with Sherry on that. Cool. Well, those all sound like some good next steps.
Sorry, just writing down over here.
Yeah. Anything else?
All right, perfect. No, I have next meeting.
Next meeting. So I thought June 12th would probably be the right next date, because I think per the regular cadence, we'd be looking at, yeah, but per the regular cadence, it would be June 12th, I think, and June 19th is the following Wednesday, and that's Juneteenth and a town holiday, or it's a
Yeah,
holiday.
that's a holiday.
So you can't meet on a holiday. So does the 12th work? I believe the 13th is the full ESC meeting.
Okay, yeah, no, June 12th is fine. Oh, did you say the 13th is the ESC?
The 13th is the big group, the
Okay.
full ESC.
Okay.
So if the 12th works for you,
Yeah, that works.
7:30.
Yep, 7:30 is great.
That has a hold on my calendar. And oh, well, hold on. Did we officially declare that you're chair at the close of this meeting? Maybe that's a matter not anticipated.
Oh yeah, topics anticipated. Okay.
So I would like to hand over being chair to you. I don't think that's a thing we need to vote on.
Considering
Maybe
it
it is.
I don't know. Considering it's only me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I know it doesn't need a second because positions don't need seconds. So I think as long as you nominate her, she's it.
Got it. Christina, I nominate you to be chair of this subcommittee.
As long as she accepts, then you're done.
I accept.
Yes. Fantastic. Well, that is great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And then thank you. Thank you for taking that on.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate it.
We all have to share the load, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Well, this one is fun. This is like fun and engaging. I'm excited that we're
Yeah.
like, it feels like we're getting some momentum here.
Yep.
It's great to have gotten some feedback from various folks in town who are like,
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to do. So
Yeah, that's great.
cool. Good. All right. Well, so then you can email Sherry with that next meeting date.
Okay, sorry. Yep, and I have your email with thank you for that, by the way. That's
You're welcome.
exactly how my brain works. So that's perfectly outlined. I can refer back to it. So it's great.
Yep. And that's like, I just sat down with my, to-do list of the things, the sort of repeating cadence things. Okay, this many days ahead you do this many days ahead you do that.
Yep, that's exactly
Great.
what I need. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I will send Sherry that and then
and I will send the meeting minutes that we approved tonight, since I have those. That'll be my final act as chair to send over those approved minutes.
Okay, got it. Wait, you did the minutes? I think I did them too.
From no, sorry, from last session.
Okay.
Like was it March, April? The March minutes that we approved.
Oh, got it. That were approved. I got it. Okay.
Since I have that page, I will mark it as approved and send it off.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. I took no notes today.
Okay, good.
Other than my couple of to-dos.
I took plenty, so good.
All right, I'm going to sign off, you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
right,
Julie.
Public member.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All
All
right.
right. Well, then motion to adjourn. It's 8:35.
8:35. Okay. And then what do I just say? Yes? Is that it?
I think you just say yes and we're adjourned.
Yes. All right.
All right.
All right.
Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. All right.